Data-driven strategic thinking is the subject of our next address. That fits very well with the previous address, where we heard that we need good data to do our strategic thinking. Tourism 4.0 is the team, and I'm very happy to welcome Urska, Starc, Peceny, and Tomi Ilijaš. They are joining us from Slovenia. They have been talking on a lot of conferences during the years, and they have been developing this, what they call big data model, to help us think strategically, but with the right parameters. Thank you very much, and welcome warmly.
Hello from our side. So here we go. I'll just put it in the right mode. So here we go. As Jan introduced us, we are working with data, and to start, we would like to start with an example, because tourism is something that we all feel to be expert in, because every one of us is traveling around and having experiences in tourism. And we want to start with one example with a location in Slovenia. It's a major tourist attraction with many visitors, a high amount of daily visitors coming. And just as an example to show the perception of tourism is taking, for example, amount of waste. We are thinking this is the amount of waste in this destination, this location, the total amount of waste. And if I'm sitting in the office and have objective opinion of a situation, like my feeling of how much the tourist providers produce of waste produced, this is like, for example, my opinion. And then 1 hour later, I drive my car, I see a bus with full of tourists just eating sandwiches there without throwing anything away. My perception already changes. I think that tourism produces more waste. And then 2 days later, I just pass the same location after a concert or something and see many papers around, and my perception of tourism changes again. And it's always the same amount of data, it's always the same issues that I'm observing. But actually, if we look at the numbers, what is really the impact of tourism at the special, for example, at this location? And this is the picture that we get. So often we have the perception of tourism that we have is completely different from the real picture. And this is what we are working on. We are leading different projects on national level, on EU level, in the Black Sea area and in the Danube region, dealing with data and focusing on two main things. One is we want to bring R&D spirit into tourism, because in tourism, many decisions are made like with thumb, not based on real data. And the second thing that we want to do is we see tourism built not around the tourist, not the tourist is the king, the local residents and quality of life of local residents are the center. And whatever we do, whatever we develop, we see and want to respect this quality of life of local community. How we do it, I will just pass the word now to Tomi to show in different examples our tools and solutions. So please, Tomi.
Oh, hi, everybody. So we are tech guys and very recently entered in the tourism from the industry 4.0. So we are the guys of blockchain, of course, high performance computing, high performance data analytics, etc. And of course, we will building all the solutions around the technology which is available now. I'll just briefly introduce you our technology pillars, and then we will focus on the first one, which is tourism impact model. On the back side, it's collaboration platform, which is a combination of data lake and a huge repository of very different data sources, and built in some let's say plugins for AI, for big data analytics, etc. Then we have tourism impact model, which we will focus in the second part of our presentation. And of course, very connected is also tourism, tourist flows, how to manage tourist, first, how to measure tourist flows, how to analyze tourist flows, and then of course, how to predict the flows in the future. This is again, a bunch of technology behind and combining, we are always combining various data sets. It's never just one data set. You are combining all sorts of, most of the time, non-compatible data sources. But of course, with the help of the technology, we can make we can produce information out of these data sets. So this is our main goal: to use the data to produce the information for the local stakeholders in the tourism. Then we have crypto voucher, which was developed 2 years ago, and now in this let's say Corona crisis, we have seen that many countries make some incentives, to encourage local population to go to the holidays within the country, and Slovenia did the same. So 200 euros were given to the all citizens of Slovenia to in kind of a voucher. Unfortunately, this was not properly done, and the impact will be questionable, I guess. But what we developed here, it's a token, it's a voucher basically, which changes the value within the time and the place. So it depends where you go, the value of this token will change. Of course, in this way, you can redirect the flows within the region, within the country, or maybe one day within the world. Personal digital passport is just our answer to the, let's say, global data protection or global industry, which is dealing with our data, which is using our data, trading with our data without our permission. And we usually say that this is a European response to, let's say, US or Chinese way to do it. Neither one or another way is acceptable for most of Europeans. So we developed a very personalized thing, which is safe for us. And again, we can have all the benefits we had with personalization of the data. And the last, it's a physical. We were lucky in one of the projects. We got financing to build a real living lab, a real tourist, let's say, village with mobile houses, etc., in a very attractive location. And we will do all sorts of experiments there. Some of them really weird, and really, I'm inviting you all to connect us and to see what we will be doing there in the living lab. It will happen next year, not this year. Good. Maybe just go on, and Urska, this is your part, I guess.
To bring real data in the perception of the impact of tourism, and to enable this data-driven strategic thinking and planning, which is missing in tourism. As I already mentioned, built-in transparency, inclusion of local inhabitants, what is important, and we will show now the process, how we do is a supervised collecting of data, mapping of data, to get this real picture of the whole spectrum of positive and negative impacts of tourism, because we believe that tourism has a lot of positive impacts. And then, of course, the visualization of results of complex concepts and data in simple visualizations, and then recommendations how to proceed to have this competent response in all situations. This is the process. I will give now the word back to Tomi to explain you how we do and use these technologies to collect data.
Thank you, Urska. So first of all, we are working on a micro locations. We don't believe on a statistical average. You know, you would say like half of Europe is poor, half of Europe is rich. In average, we are average. You know, this is kind of stupid for us. So we went down to the micro location, which means maybe a level of the small towns or the tourist destinations, etc. In some occasions, a big cities sometimes had to be divided in a more in a different areas to do the analysis properly. So we choose the proper geographical micro area, and then we map the data sources. We are using all sorts of data sources, and most of them are really easy accessible. And most of the data, especially in Europe, is public. The question is that we have to come to the source as soon as possible to avoid the mistakes while gathering all the data. Next, please. So you see, after we have all the data in set, we are starting with a questionnaire. This is let's say, if you see, this is a small Slovenia, and we're talking really a small location. For example, this is our local community, Nova Gorica, and even this could be divided in smaller pieces. But let's discuss about this small region, like 20,000 people, and we would like to map this location and see the positive and negative impact of tourism, and combining also with the view of the sustainable development goals.
Maybe I jump in.
Yeah,
here.
Jump in, please.
Yeah, because it's like a mission impossible talking about the SDGs on local level, but as we see the development now, starting on a global level, national level, gathering data, we have learned now during the COVID crisis how important the local data are, because the more deep we go with the data, the more local they are, the more flexible our decisions can be. If you get data on the local level, then we can make decision on a local level. Maybe the lockdown is not it's not obligatory to have it for the whole country. And this is exactly what we enable with this tool, is to go to use the SDGs. So all the questionnaire, all the things that Tomi will be mentioning now are aligned with the goals and targets. So you, with the help of the data that you're gathering through team, you can then also work on the voluntary local report, as they are called right now, because they are still voluntary. And in this aspect, then collect all kinds of different qualitative and quantitative kind of data.
Great, thank you, Urska.
So if you want to show.
Yeah, we are in the previous slide, you could see that there were a bunch of aspects of life, from economy to the social living, culture, etc. Collaboration is included. So we want to have the whole spectrum of the data sets, and you could see now in a blue frame that we have 5 big groups of question sets. We have 23 categories and 60 question sets, which most of them, they have multiple questions. So it's kind of a really complex questionnaire. And if you go around and if you meet the local, mayors or the decision makers within a destination, and you mention that you're going to ask 1,000 questions, they will just say, sorry, we don't have time for this. So what we do, because there is no such a thing as a magic stick and say, yeah, we all get this data automatically from some data sources. We go and help these guys. So we are using the experts in the field, and they go straight to the source and get this data, not asking clerks in the local community level, etc., what this data is. Okay, I'll explain you now. Let's just show you an example, please. This is an example of a question, very simple one, and we are following, let's say, some of the questions are questioning about the condition, and now condition in the whole area, and other data sets, other questions are asking what is the influence, what is the impact of the tourism on this specific question. For example, this is again the situation now. What is the number of visitors that visited? This is an impact of the tourism on safety, for example. And here you have to enter data sets, and all this data can be found at the police station. So gathering the data, it's very important, and this process within a certain destination, it takes days, sometimes even weeks, but it's a lot of work done by the expert, and of course you have to have a motivated persons on the other side within stakeholders. Important is that at the end of this process, you don't get just one result, you get the whole set of recommendations, you get PDF of 20, 30, 40 pages, it depends of how you do it, and all sorts of analysis coming out of these questions. Because what we do, again, I have to mention, we are combining data sets to provide an information. There are all sorts of formulas. Most of them are very transparent, and we explain to the destinations how we do it. What are the criteria? What is the mathematics behind it? At the end, there is a very simple and easy to use and easy to understand a graphical presentation of where your destination is, in which of these 16 possible positions your destination fits. So you see we have 4 groups, and next please. And on the y-axis we have benefits of the tourism, on the y-axis we have resource consumption, so kind of negative impact of tourism, positive impact of tourism. And then we will see in the next picture, we have also the color of this position, which is the third dimension. So, and this third dimension is what is the current situation, what is the
general condition
of the destination. Okay, so if you end up in each of these positions, you would be either a champion, exploiter, or misuser, or sleeper. You see, if you really get lots of benefits from the tourism with as low as possible of the resource consumption, you are a champion. You get most of the benefits without ruining the nature, the society, etc. Of course, we have on the other side, we have misusers, which are exploiting, ruining cultural, natural habitat, whatever, or people with very little benefits for the community. And of course, we have 2 other locations, which are exploiters and sleepers. Sleepers, of course, small input, small output, and exploiters kind of, yeah, it doesn't matter how much it costs, but we will make money, you know. So this is approximately the chart, the final chart, which you will get at the first page of the report. And of course, there will be breakdown of the whole of the each data sets and explaining how we got to this point. So at the end of the questionnaire, the result from the DEX model, maybe you are familiar with the DEX, which is decision-making, multi-attribute decision-making expert system. You are positioned somewhere in this. For example, let's imagine we ended up in this positions, significant benefits, and critical resource consumption. And the current state of this
Location.
destination, yeah, it's yellow. So it's not really good, which would be green, and it's not bad, which is red. Okay, what we want to do? Everybody would like to move to the upper right corner, right? To be a champion. So to get as much as possible from the tourism with not devastating or using a critical masses of resource consumption. So where to move, where to go next, where will be in 1 or 2 years time from now. So you have all sorts of or combinations. Some of them, you see these 3 arrows, 3 vectors. It means moving into this direction is good. Moving in the yellow direction, it's yeah, pretty much the same where we were. And we don't want to move into the red direction, because this really means that we are not, we are going down, not up. Okay, if we did it last year and we were on a yellow circle, and this year we repeated we took some measures, we developed a couple of things, we improved a couple of parameters, and this year we ended up in this green place, you see. And our projection, our let's say estimations for this year or the next year is even better. This is just estimation, because we cannot predict the future very accurately, but we know if you are a local let's say if you are a mayor or whatever, you know what kind of measures you will take to increase the benefits, because you had the nice report and you could follow these recommendations. Good. So you see, this is the real picture you will get in the first page, and a destination like this deserve a name: sustainable champion. Sustainable because you will stay here. The plans, your estimations are that you are gonna stay here in the green champion, let's say, quadrant, and you are champion because you are in the upper right quadrant, right?
So maybe to add, as I start at the beginning, is we have many data, complex things for destinations, a lot of working with data. But at the end, you get the picture, you get some simple, graphics and recommendations how to move, how to proceed. So this is this data-driven strategic thinking, which enables to use the data also for people who are not used to it, and still have a kind of is still gap and this fear to work with the data. So this is the purpose of this tool. What is very important, I can give also the word back to you, Tomi, is this: what does it mean, the picture that you get? It can be the real picture of the situation, or it can be again a picture like this. So like this. So why is it important to have very precise data?
Garbage in, garbage out is the well-being. So we are working with fictional data sets or all sorts of estimations, this is not good, of course. And what will be in the recommendations, a special chapter is dedicated to the data accuracy, and we show what should be improved in order to get more better data and better prediction, of course, in the future. So within most of the questions we have additions. It look like this, or it look similar to this. How accurate this? What is the source, frequency of the data collection, accuracy, how precise are all this management? So at at the end we can see that these are the results, but this is the accuracy, so maybe they are not really accurate. Very important is to get accurate results, which you may think.
And
okay.
Again, to think maybe this year we don't have the like real accurate data, but thinking about it for the plans for the next year or next few years, thinking and have it in the background that some sensors and some data collections are very important. So already this awareness is also a very important added value of this process of doing this questionnaire.
If I may use an example from the beginning of this presentation, Urska was showing you a well-known tourist location in Slovenia. 90% of all tourists coming to Slovenia goes to that place. That place has 10,000 local residents and around 700,000 daily visitors per year. So you see, and you saw the results. You know, the tourist, let's say, impact on the waste management is insignificant. It's really low, because this is you know, imagine 700,000 people, but most of the time they just stay for a day. And the data accuracy there, we were complaining about the data accuracy because the waste management company were not weighting the waste. They were just counting the containers, you know, and either it is half full or empty. They don't care. They just count the containers. And with this simple let's say IoT thing, weighting the waste and of course all sorts of waste, this would really improve. And the mayor said, yeah, we are going to do this because the investment is not, it's not a big one. Okay.
So this brings us to tourist flows.
Good. Tourist flows, of course, I'll show you, this is not really fictional data sets, but it's more like restricted data sets, because we used some data sets which are really sensitive. One of these data sets, it's, I say, usually garbage from the telecom operators. You know that telecom mobile operators, they keep the data, which is called CDR, call data record. They keep this forever or for years, because this is the data which is at the end at your bill, how much calls did you made, minutes of your calls, then the SMS data transferred, etc. All the rest is deleted, or it should be deleted every 24 hours. And this data, they have all the data where you were moving with your mobile phone. And of course, you were following this Corona crisis, where European governments wanted to set up a kind of systems to control the movement of the people. And of course, in most places, this was a really, they hit the wall of the, let's say, we don't want to be tracked. What we do here, it's completely GDPR compliant, yeah, and we are just following a statistical part, the statistics, so groups of people and not just one people moving around the country and following this. So with this, we can play with several scenarios. We can choose from the left menu, you see, and see the how for example, German tourists or Italian tourists moved around the country, and where were the majority, where are the major tourist flows. Or you can just select the one part of the, let's say, one region. This is Alp region, which is very easy to track because there are just two ways, a valley, Alp Valley, you see, no way to come with, this is only one road. And there were very, very interesting analyses came out. Of course, with German tourists, we figure out that most of the tourists in this valley are coming from the Adriatic Sea back to Germany, and they were stopping in the valley because when going to the holidays, they first really hurry to go to the seaside, and after seaside just wanted to do something else, and they were sports there, and you can really sleep because it's at the night the temperatures goes down. This is a simple example. We can analyze the flows of tourist predictions, combining all sorts of data sets, not only mobile phone, but also the um, taxis, tourist taxis, um, TripAdvisor, Airbnb, and we combine these tourist flows and we make predictions. Of course, but this is another important is predictions. If we understand the tourist, then we can produce an impact model and tourist flows applications. We can predict where will go up and where it will go down. So with more benefits will just increase a little bit, and the negative impact of tourism will. This is very important to understand. So we don't want we redirect the tourist flows, not red. We want to move them to the at least locations, but as a country, we want to move tourists to the unexplored green parts, and the impact of the new tourists there and negative aspect. This is a strategical part of planning.
This is the moment where this token in these red zones changes the value. So in the red zones, the value is no value, and the green higher. So the people have incentive and would have that wouldn't be in.
Yeah. So basically, we can another couple of minutes.
Yes,
maybe.
Please.
Yeah.
You can.
I can.
Whatever.
Yeah. From the technical point of view, it's doable. We have done a great but of course the big guys, advisor, etc., booking.com will never let us do this. We become so strong or that we can do it. So basically why we are all giving the personal information around the world, living all this in the apps, using cookies in the web browsers, etc. Why? Because there is a lot of offer around us, and if we want something, we want to have personalized offer, right? Because it's too much offer out there, and we are searching. At the end, all we get is selection of our let's say personal profile. What is important to understand, 2 years ago we were speakers in a huge conference in US, and a keynote speaker was Steve Wozniak, you may know from Apple. So what he said, that he from AI, he believes only in A, so that is artificial, because the best algorithms of, I don't know, Google, it needs like 5,000 pictures of a cat to learn what the cat is, and not to mix it with a dog. If you have a 1.5 years old kid and you show him a cat, this is a cat and this is a dog, they will never miss it again. If you have to say it 3 times, you may have problems with that kid. So, this is a true intelligence. what I wanted to say is that all these machines on the background, with all these expensive AI machines, which cost millions, hundreds of millions of euros, they they can make a very limited profile of yours. And usually most of us are in these profiles like Picasso pictures, you know, one eye, a nose like that, etc. Because they are guessing, they try to guess what my profile is. What we can do in 5 minutes, I can show it to you, but we don't have time, that you can set up your own personal profile in 5 minutes, much better that Google can do this in 5 years from your from your behavior. And you cannot make just one of your avatar or your profiles. You can have more profiles. All of us, when we travel for business, it's a completely different behavior, completely different what we want to get from the tourist providers than if we are traveling with family, friends, or whatever very specialized trip. So important is that our profile is there, that the machines are preparing the personalized offer according to our profile, to our avatar, but they don't use my personal data. This is very important. Uh, I want to have all my data, all my sensitive data there hidden. I don't want that everybody's pushing me something which I don't want. So I'm acting as a white middle-aged man on an amount of money with certain
Finish with stories, because we know that tourism is about in physical and in digital world, and the data, the strategies that we have learned now how to build bring us to decisions, and many decisions bring to the point that, okay, we don't want red zones, we want to spread tourist flows, and we want to bring them to the areas where maybe now is no a lot of offer there. This is, for example, the map of Slovenia and register immovable cultural heritage. 59% of it, we say it's our hidden gems, which are not, we don't take advantage of these gems. And the situations in other countries pretty similar, the same. What do we believe, and what we are also doing now in Slovenia with the help of the country in founding for destination, to find these gems and use the technology and make new tourist offer off of them. To have this, the vision in the action in Slovenia is to become one of the leading countries, not only in the digitization of the cultural heritage, but the making of new tourist experiences and products out of it. Why is this important? Because we know that one job in this cultural heritage museum and so on brings many new jobs in the areas which are maybe not attractive or have no other resources. We have developed a roadmap how to do it on national level, what kind of are important, but we don't want to bother you with them. Just to show you there are so many possibilities, and this is also about the data, because at first step is this like digitizing, sorry, cultural heritage. So the physical world bringing into digital world, and then making it interesting, because you know we are maybe still somehow, okay, now I'm in the physical world, and then now I'm digital world, and we are mixing a little bit. But the younger generation, they have a completely other way of living, of experiencing the reality. And if we want to bring our history, centuries and millennials of our history in this new reality, we have to do it. So I believe it's on us, on our generation now, to do this step, to find the ways how to digitize and how then to bring new experiences out of these stories, which are still like locked in the physical world, and bring it through tourism in this new mixed reality. At the end, thank you very much for your attention, and you are all very welcome to join our Tourism 4.0 partnership. We have partners from all over the world, no obligations, no fees. We just want to build a community of people hire tourism with this R&D spirit and with tourism focused on the quality of life of local community, and use the technologies for this purpose. So I would finish now the presentation. Maybe we have some questions in the, just stop sharing. Just to...
Okay. Perhaps I may ask the first question, Urska.
Yep, sure.
So if I am a DMO somewhere in Germany or whatever, I find your model interesting. Is that, how does that work commercially? Do you do a project? What is the layout here?
Just talk to Spain, for example, or yesterday we had with Black Sea partners. Depends on what somebody wants to do, because every location has specifics. But if you talk just about the assessment, is okay, the location, Tomi will explain better, is the size of the location and how many different micro locations we want to take into account. And then, yes, it's a kind of project, it's a partnership, because the collaboration with the local community is crucial in this process. But Tomi, please.
So what we would do, you know, the system is perfectly calibrated for Europe. This is okay. We still have to work on Black Sea area, which is a bit out, Middle East, Africa, etc. So it should be calibrated for outside Europe, because you have completely different parameters. But within Europe, what we would do, we would search for a proper partner within that DMO, and they will do this assessment. Okay, now at this stage, we still can go and make a one or two assessments around the world, but in the long term, we can't do it in each part of the world. What we do, we train the experts who will go there and do these assessments. And they should be local. They should know the language. They should go around, make phone calls and get to the data, etc.
Okay, we have one question. Yes.
Yeah, yes. Do you take care of that?
Yep. The question is, do you have any examples how data model results influenced the policy change or operational approach? What were the changes or new approaches taken by this destination? As Tomi mentioned before, yes, during our testing of the system we are doing in Slovenia, already the process of questionnaire was something that brought together different parts of municipality, for example, you know, departments which collect different kinds of data and usually don't cooperate, or maybe just put some report together of the end of the year, but not really thinking about how they can combine data where the data are spread around. This is one thing. And the changes, concrete changes, are the suggestions with small sensors. You can get data that give you a completely different pictures of the situation. So this is, for example, one of the changes. Yeah, Tomi.
Maybe I can add something. Again, with that small destination in Slovenia, imagine you have a destination with a world attraction where 1 million people or 700,000 people are visiting, you know, each year, paying entrance fee, etc., and buying things around it. Imagine, I would say that this is a champion. This should be a champion. And after the analysis, after the tourism impact model, we got it that there are sleepers. So the positive impact on a community was very, very low. So probably, I know there were not a resource consumption, a huge resource consumption either, but also the impact on the community, number of jobs, unimportant, number of whatever investments because of that, unimportant, etc., etc. So the whole community is living and making their lives without, neglecting that part. So, and there are now lots of other experts, for DMO experts, economists, etc., because we are IT guys, came to that field, how to prepare plans to get better impact, more money, more impact in the community, So yeah, I hope it will be a lot of changes, but please have in mind that we started this spring with this. So we were preparing model for a year, and now we are on a market with this.
So maybe one question that people are asking us all the time is, where do we want to go? What is this, goal that the ideal situation is? The ideal situation is not in one step, but we say like in 5 steps is to create a system of sensoric and collection of data and all the sources mapped, that the data come in automatic way, are collected, maybe daily, hourly, even frequently. And in this way, we can build a system together. Just, it's not about the technology, it's about the community and everyone collaborating. A system which enables us to react in situations as we were faced like some months ago. It's not about, oh, geez, what now? It's about, okay, it's a completely new situation. This is the data. If we do this, this and this and this changes. If we do the changes, this is what is, so playing with real data. It's something that is very powerful, would help every one of us to preserve our quality of life.
It's modeling, yeah. Modeling and doing the predictions. Good.
So I see there is no questions, so maybe we can close with this.
I would just say, for me, like any good presentation, it raises a whole lot of questions and ideas, and I think the viewers will have the same. They need to consider a bit, because this is a new way of thinking, another way of thinking, but it fits perfectly well in what we heard from Frank before. It will also fit, I assume, with some of the presentations we have later. You will be around on the Expo to answer questions, and I'm pretty sure there will be a lot of questions to be asked. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
I think that is a part of the future, what you're showing here. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you for inviting us. Yeah. Bye.
Bye.